That's the three dots.
Oh, is it?
And then you do that.
I had no idea. Thanks for letting me know, Shannon. I would have had no idea how to use a computer.
You good, kitty?
I'm just a girl.
Hi. You baby. Good kitty. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Good girl.
All right. Hi. Hello, people.
Good kitty. You good kitty? How does the shipping work from Disneyland? Is it expensive?
No.
Is there a free shipping option to Canada?
I don't think so. It's not very much though. I've ordered from.
Can I find Star Wars stuff when it comes out too?
Yeah. They don't have as much as going to Disneyland, but
no.
They have. Remember your Star Wars pants? I got those from the website.
Oh yeah. Great.
Hello, fellow Super Bowl haters. I think there's probably some people on there that like Super Bowl and football.
Oh, for sure. I figured there'd be people tuning in while they're watching this.
Let's see those Star Wars pants. You see, they want to see your pants, Shannon.
Yeah, I'm not wearing those right now. Hi. What's your deal?
Are you watching the Puppy Bowl? The Puppy Bowl. That's way better than...
I'm actually watching, I'm rewatching the end of the Royal Rumble from this year because that was the best thing the wrestling's done in a very long time.
Oh, thank you. Shannon got them for me at Disneyland. Aren't they kind of fun?
I'm glad you like those. I was really nervous because
he's like, they're totally dorky.
I bought them when we were in the store.
Dorky? And I said, of course I think they're dorky.
I bought them when we were in one of the Disney stores, and I was like, oh man, because she was distracted with the kids. I'm like, I hope she likes these.
All of Disneyland, I was distracted with the kids. That's how Disneyland works, though, right?
You were tired and you were kind of stressed out, and I was like, well, maybe this will help.
I was at Disneyland with 3 children. One of which kept wandering off. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's definitely one of those holidays. You need a holiday after your holiday. Maybe what do I need to make a shirt?
Maybe we could get him a t-shirt. If I'm wandering, look for this person. We can put your face on
there you go. He needs a shirt. That's what most teenagers want.
Yeah.
Picture of their mom's face on their shirt.
Hey, what's the deal? No. You're not attacking you cats. The kittens have decided they want to team up and attack Bear.
Wrestling and the NFL are equally real.
Don't get me started on NFL officiating.
Don't hate it. I just don't have a big interest in it. We'll catch some of the later action.
See, and for me, it's Philadelphia and Kansas City, and I couldn't have less interest. The Eagles and the Chiefs. Even Yvonne would know. Shannon doesn't care about either of those teams. That doesn't sound like anything he's going to care about.
They're not teams that I am familiar with, so that means you don't care because I don't ever hear about them.
Yeah, I really don't. I mean, on some level, I'm rooting for Philly, but I don't care enough to actively root for Philly.
Any news on who's going to be making jerseys next?
I haven't heard. I would imagine I will know when that's coming to an end because when Ben does all of his ordering, he'll tell me who it's going to be through because he has to know so he can order jerseys.
True.
Which means they have to know well in advance. This isn't something that they could say in May. Well, next year they'll all be from Nike or they'll all be from Starter.
They would have to already know.
They would have to. Well,
yes.
When
how long it takes to order the fabric and
because they'll have to decide about a year and a half ahead of time. You might be able to get away with a year.
No.
You might.
No.
There'd be shortages, but you might be able to get because I don't think Adidas.
How long it takes for them to order the fabric.
I don't think we knew with Adidas a year. I think it was a year before.
We wouldn't have known, but they know. They already know. They have to.
I thought they were still doing the bidding process.
They'd have to get that figured out. Otherwise, jerseys are not going to come out in time because they have to. They have to order the fabric. It has to be made specifically for the jerseys. They still haven't made an Adidas, and then they have to make the jerseys.
How is this not? How has this not become a third yet for the Jets?
Right? It needs to.
It's just. It has to be a third. I don't understand.
I like the pairs. They're so dorky. They're fun. Oh, somebody asked me what tea. I made a it's chocolate coconut tea.
Oh,
it's fun. It's a macaron. It's from David's Tea because I
Luke
really
Shen
like David's
keep or
tea.
move. They're gonna move them, and because the Canucks aren't going to be contenders anytime soon, I don't think moving him is a bad idea. I hope they don't just give him away, but I don't know how much market there is for him right now either.
When is the Grey Cup?
We already had the Grey Cup, I thought.
I'm not the person.
Pretty sure the CFL already had the Grey Cup.
Where are all of the kitties? There's Bear.
There. Shadow's yelling out there somewhere. The kittens realized I'm not going to let them attack Bear. So they left when they realized I'm not going to let them go after Bear because they hunt her and attack her. But
do Guy and Gordy still play youth hockey? No.
We haven't done youth hockey in years.
Yeah, we stopped at the beginning of the pandemic, and then Gabriel's in public school, so he can't do hockey. No. The timing wouldn't work. And then we put Adelaide in forest school, which is at the same time as our hockey was. Yep. So it was kind of a choice we had to make. So yeah. Grey Cup happened in the fall.
Yeah, I thought so. I was pretty sure. That shows how little I follow the CFL. But yeah, I was pretty sure because the CFL season starts earlier than the NFL season.
It sounds like an interesting type of tea. It's really good. It tastes, it's not like it's just coconut in it. You can't really taste. Whenever they have the chocolate, it's like the cocoa nibs. So it's not actually chocolate flavored, but it's good. Do I have a cold? Oh, due to travel. Yeah, we got kind of sick.
I got really
California. Shannon got really sick. I started getting it, that Saturday. And on Sunday, we got 2 rope drop and I was already ready for a nap. But I kept telling the kids, we're like, you okay, Mom? Powering through it. Last day.
So I was down on the Thursday. I got myself up on the Friday. I really was not ready to be back at it, but it's an expensive trip. I had to go. So...
We always have trouble whenever we go south like that. The air really affects us. My eyes were watering so bad, just like they do in Vegas. And that goes all to my sinuses. And then I start feeling terrible and sounding terrible. It's just because the air is so different. And Adelaide was having trouble with the air too. And it was making her skin really, really dry. And she was having the watery.
So the lingering effect I have, and you guys will pick it up in videos, is when I'm doing the long-winded videos, and I don't know of any other kind. It starts to stress my voice by the end of it.
Long-winded videos.
I have a really hard time by about the 20-minute mark. My throat kind of decides I'm done. So yeah. Gosh.
And in the park, no, you guys, I'm having to repeat myself too much for this. I don't have the kind of voice. Stop interrupting me. Just listen. Let me finish a sentence.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, children. Which Stars player has impressed you the most so far this season?
I mean, Pavelski always impresses me with his overall play at his age. I think Heiskanen's been their most consistent blue liner, but it's very rare that there isn't something with Jason Robertson that just amazes me in any given game. Even if he's cold from a goal scoring perspective, Robertson's still generating. So yeah, I'd go with Robertson.
THG really enjoyed the Small World ride. That is his favorite. And now we have video proof of how much he loves.
We got stuck on it.
That was the funniest thing. I really was only able to talk him into it that one time, and he wasn't going to do it. And then I said, okay, but can you go on the one time just so I can have a picture of you on Small World? Because there's a subscriber that I talk to frequently that kind of jokes about Small World, and I thought that would be so funny to send him a picture. And so we thought, well, we could do a little video, and we were on the ride and just so, okay, which way do you want me to hold the camera? Should I do a longer video or just do a little short? And I just happened to think to do a longer video, and yeah, having to stop. I was laughing so hard because really, what are the chances? I've never been stopped on Small World. And being able to document it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny.
Yeah, it was funny. It was something.
I watched Small World video to support Shannon, but I shouldn't have. It gave me a migraine.
The song never stops. The ride does. And any other ride, when it stops or it's broken, the song stops. Not Small World.
It was so funny. Oh my gosh. I was laughing really hard.
Like when the Winnie the Pooh ride was down, there was no music. When Minnie, there was no music when Minnie and Nikki was down.
They got stuck on it when it stopped. And I said, it stopped for a little bit for us. And Mickey stopped playing his music because we were in the room where Mickey was playing his guitar, and it stopped, and he just kind of sat there and blinked. And I thought that was weird and didn't start doing the music until it started again.
Yeah.
Not Small World. THG's favorite ride is the Small World. We sang along, and he loved it. That's funny. Oh. You must go to a Stars game with me one day.
I'd love to go to a Stars game. They're really pushing hard for me to get Canucks tickets. So there was a Canucks representative that finally I told him, I said, look, I'm not going to any other games this year. I don't have the time. And they're like, all right, okay. And then within a week, I had some other representative from the Canucks bugging me about buying tickets. And what they're doing is anybody who's bought tickets over the last couple of years, they're even like, hey, how'd you like to go to a game? So it tells me that they're not selling very well right now, which I've always said with this market, it's one of those things where fans won't go if they know the team isn't any good. We went through this in the late 90s. And so this is why, and I think people get confused because they'll say they won't support the team. And you're like, we support the team. Well, I know vocally you will, but people won't put their butts in the seats to watch the team when they're crap. So we'll find out over the next year and a half when the team is intentionally bad, whether or not fans are going to come out. But this market has always been fair weather for attendance. Vocally, fans will support the team, but for attendance, when the team's not very good, the attendance will drop.
What was the poultry plant you worked at in Abbotsford? He hasn't ever worked in a poultry plant in Abbotsford.
No, the only poultry plant in Abbotsford is
duck farm in Chilliwack. I worked at a duck farm in Yarrow. Meat packing plant.
And then there's meat packing plant in Chilliwack, but I did not work at one in Abbotsford because there's only one in Abbotsford.
That what Valley, something Valley, right? No, I know where it is. The one right on the other side of the highway.
Yeah, and I tried to get in there at one point, and I didn't get hired. But I was actually grateful because you get hired at a good rate, but you never get a raise. So you get hired at a good rate, and then they leave you there. And I think there's some bonuses that kick in too, but yeah.
What do you think of Tarasenko playing in New York?
So far, so good. 2 games in. It's clearly rejuvenated Panarin. Panarin has had the best 2 games I think he's had all season. We'll see how it goes for him going forward. But I do appreciate when teams make the move sooner rather than later with the trade deadline. I think you give the guy a better chance to be acclimated to the team. And yeah, the longer you wait, I think the worse it is.
What is your favorite Disney ride other than Small World?
You know, I've debated on that back and forth. I did the video on Disney when we got back. We do still have to do the one with the kids, and then we do the one together. But for me, I honestly would go with
somebody says Splash Mountain.
Star Tours.
I haven't shared that picture.
I would go with Star Tours.
Star Tours is fun
because it's different every time. So I enjoy really cool. I enjoy Smuggler's Run, which is the Millennium Falcon one. That's a very fun ride. But that one's repetitive, so you're doing the same thing over and over again, so it does get very repetitive. I enjoy Rise of the Resistance. I went on it twice this time.
I went on,
but again, it's
down every time.
It's the same. So each time you do it, it is the same. It's a whole experience. But yeah,
the new Mickey ride's really fun. That one's
the really Mickey ride was okay, but I think Star Tours just for the unpredictability. You go in there, you don't know where you're going to go. You don't know what's going to happen. It's got this old-fashioned feel to it, this 80s throwback to the whole way that it's put together, because it came out, and I guess it was 87. And I love it. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's great. And next time, Yvonne's going to take me on Space Mountain.
I really like Space
I don't mean
Mountain.
that in the Ric Flair way either. So before anybody's mind goes in the gutter, he used to say he was going to take the ladies for a ride on Space Mountain, and he wasn't talking about the Disney ride. So...
Ew.
You used to confuse me as a kid because I didn't know that was a ride at Disneyland. So I'm like, ride on Space Mountain. What's Space Mountain? Is that like the...
I like Space Mountain, but they take a picture right at the end when you get to this tunnel that has all these rainbow lights. So I always look like a big dork when they take a picture because I'm like, ooh, it's pretty.
Well,
every time I'm like, oh, and picture, and I look like a dork. But, okay. You can be underwhelmed and overwhelmed, but how about regular whelmed? Just whelmed. Sounds like something you would say, whelmed.
You know, the Canucks are missing the playoffs. I'm whelmed by that. Just very whelmed.
Thoughts on Pasternak contract, and what does Boston trade for a playoff run?
Pasternak, apparently the Bruins and Pasta are getting closer to an agreement. At least that's what the word was a couple weeks ago. I think it'll get done. I don't think he'll get what he would get on the open market, but I think it gets done. Outside of that, I don't think Boston needs much. I think you have to make sure you're not over adjusting. So maybe a winger, probably a depth winger, because DeBrusk should be back before the end of the season. And then you get into probably a depth blue liner. I don't think they need much else.
Space Mountain is the roller coaster inside the building in Tomorrowland, right by Pizza Planet and the Star Wars store. It's all in the dark, so you look like you're in space. So it's not as bad as the other roller coasters because you can't see that you're gonna drop or where you're gonna turn or anything, and there's none of that horrible climbing that is the worst part of roller coasters. Yeah.
And then we also did the Ferris wheel.
Yeah, we did the big Mickey head Ferris wheel
at the pier, Pixar Pier. Yeah. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
I would have died on that Space Mountain then, wouldn't I? Yes. Yeah. No, that's the one that you said several times. I'm not going on that. Nobody asked because we knew.
See, but you said that if I can handle Star Tours and if I can handle
you could do Space Mountain. It's nowhere near as bad as Thunder Mountain Railroad. It doesn't shake.
Yeah, Thunder Mountain Railroad made me
it does turn, but not like Thunder Mountain, and there's no huge drops.
Right.
There's 2 smaller drops.
See, and then I thought about doing the Guardians ride when I had the day by myself in the park.
There's no way
I thought about it.
You would have regretted it. There's no way I would. Nope.
Like I thought if I go on by myself, I can psych myself up and maybe I'll be okay.
That would be awful.
Web Slingers was fun.
Yeah.
Web Slingers was a fun one. I did enjoy that one. And I won because I was doing it properly. I had the proper form. She, on the other hand, was kung fu fighting. So while I'm doing the Spider, because you're Spider-Man, you should be doing that.
No, I told him it doesn't care how your fingers are. So we do this. And I totally did.
And yet my score was almost double hers. So it does care. It does care.
It does not.
I think I was getting points for form.
Form, right. That's how that works.
And then I was going to go back during the day I was in there, and the wait was 60 minutes. I was like, holy Lord. I'm not waiting an hour for that. It's bad enough I waited an hour and a half for Rise.
Nope. Pierre Maguire has linked the Penguins to John Gibson. Thoughts?
I haven't heard anything about Gibson even being available. Today's game against Vegas, he has to be getting frustrated with things in Anaheim. And if he became available, obviously Pittsburgh be in on him because of the fact that, Jari's hurt. DeSmith is not a starter. There's a lot of reasons. So, yeah. I think Gibson, it'd be in his best interest to move on from Anaheim, but he's also been really loyal. And anytime he's been asked, he's been totally willing to stay. So we'll see if that changes.
How do you get around regional blackouts when watching all the games? We don't have.
I'm outside the blackouts. Here.
Yeah, we don't have blackouts.
The only ones that I would deal with blackouts if I didn't have cable. So if I didn't have cable and if I wasn't watching the Canucks game on Sportsnet's regular channel, I would not be able to watch the Canucks home games because of blackouts. So that's I don't have to deal with the blackouts otherwise. I'm outside of every other region.
Will YouTube pick up Bally Sports?
I can't see YouTube going for it. I think that there will be a streamer that picks something up. I don't know. Like, I could see Disney Plus picking it up. They have some ties to hockey with some of their properties. But again, that would just be on the American side of things. I will be interested to see what happens with the Bally Sports networks.
Do you guys in Canada watch the Super Bowl?
It's crazy popular up here.
There are some Canadians that do watch.
There are a lot of people watch the Super Bowl up here. It is very, very popular. The pool we used to have at my old job for the Super Bowl was more popular than the one for the Grey Cup because more people were watching the Super Bowl.
Why were the Rangers praised for trading a first for a 30 21-year-old rental with injury issues in the Isles killed for giving up a first for a 27-year-old first center.
I think it comes from the perception that the Rangers are close and the Islanders are not. I saw a lot of posts about the Rangers and how they're not, or how the Rangers are a contender and that the Islanders aren't. And so because the Islanders were cold going into the break, they had won a couple of games going to the break, but their overall record wasn't great in January. It gives that perception that the Islanders are far out, and therefore picking up Horvat doesn't really help, and they're further than one piece away. Whereas with the Rangers, it was seen they needed that one piece, and now they're set, and we'll see whether or not that's the case.
You can only get rid of one, digital ads or blackouts. Which one do you pick?
I would be selfish and go with the digital ads, but for the National Hockey League in general, I'd go with the blackouts. I would end regional blackouts. I don't see how they help at this point in time. I understand the point of them. I just don't see how they help.
Do you watch junior A hockey like teams such as Brooks Bandits?
I really don't have time to watch the other hockey stuff. I would love to. We have tickets for the Abbotsford Canucks. I'd love to watch their road games, and I'm allowed as a season ticket holder. I get a free code to watch all of the Abbotsford road games. I really haven't been able to because
they're on at the same time as all the NHL games.
Yeah, so it just becomes kind of a mess for me.
What are your thoughts on the Red Wings going into the trade deadline? Also, what are your thoughts on the Red Wings going into the off season?
I did a news video right before we went live here. Bertuzzi apparently is on his way out, so it looks like Bertuzzi is going to be done with the Wings. I think Larkin sticks around. I think they re-sign him. I think they're going to be quite good next year. I think they're a couple of pieces away from being legitimately at least a wild card next season.
Since Rod Langway Award should totally be an NHL award, defense first. If the Langway Award was the thing, who would be front runners for the award?
Slavin would be a front runner just for existing. I will say this, there would then be the argument about defensemen who are also pretty good at both ends of the ice. A guy like Adam Fox. It would be curious if we had an award like that, how much carryover there'd be between the two. How many of the Norris Trophy winners would still get votes for the Langway as well for being pretty good defensively? I think McAvoy would be an excellent pick as well. I think McAvoy's really solid defensively. This year's been a good defensive year for Lindholm with the Boston Bruins as well.
Thoughts on the Canadiens prospect pool? Does Lane Hudson have what it takes to be a big-time gem?
Until they show up in the NHL, it is impossible to tell. They do have a very good prospect pool, one that's going to get deeper in this coming off season. They're playing well. I mean, under Marty St. Louis, clearly they enjoy playing under him and they're having fun, and I don't expect that to change.
First off, love your content. So good. I'm sure you've been asked this question a lot, but how do you watch all the games at the same time?
I can have up to 6 games I'm following on the TV, and then if there's extra games, I can follow up to 4 different games on the computer. If there's more than 10 games going on at once, I do not try to follow that many games because I will fail. I've actually
and he has an app open on his phone.
Yeah,
too.
I've kind of decided 9's kind of the limit. Anything past 9, and I just won't be able to do it.
Why did you not put a Habs no mercy today?
Because they didn't win by more than 4. The dividing line is if a team wins by more than 4 goals, they get the no mercy magnet.
Any thoughts on Spurgeon's season? Seems to be one of the few consistent Wild players.
Spurgeon's their best defenseman. He definitely gets overlooked a bit because he's in mini, but he is their best defenseman easily.
Would you trade Elias Pettersson for a Stanley Cup?
No. Nope.
There you go. That was quick.
I don't. And I the funny thing is that, if you traded Pettersson, I don't know what you'd. Yeah, I can't imagine the return on that would be huge, but it's not. I don't think it would be worth it. And again, Stanley Cup would be great and everything, but I'd rather win a Stanley Cup with Pettersson.
Thoughts on women's tag team becoming relevant with Rousey being back?
Yeah, but it would only be relevant until they lose the belts. So Rousey and Shayna Baszler win the titles, and they're relevant until they lose the belts, and then they become useless again. This is the problem we've seen with the Intercontinental title, with the U.S. title. Somebody comes in, they bring prestige to the belt, and then when they lose it, it goes back to being forgotten again.
What are your thoughts on Andrei Kuzmenko getting less ice time with Rick Tocchet?
I'm not as upset about it as a lot of Canuck fans. So there's a lot of Canuck fans that are upset that he's not getting as much ice time. I'm honestly okay with that. I think as long as he's getting special teams time, so as long as he's still getting time on the power play, I think he'll be fine. 5-on-5, he can be on the third line, and then you put him on the first unit on the power play. I think his ice time will be fine.
Chances of us seeing a Sabres uniform on Patrick Kane?
If the Sabres fade, not very good. If the Sabres stay in the hunt and if they're within 4 points come deadline, there's a good chance.
If Beauvillier keeps playing well, will the Canucks flip him at the deadline to a contender? I don't see him in their long-term plans.
I think that if he continues to play well, I think they probably keep him. There is the possibility they flip him, but at the time the trade took place, while there were a few, there was also discussions of the Canucks actually liking Beauvillier and wanting to keep him around. And I don't know how much value he would have at the deadline. I don't know that you can increase. I don't think you're going to get big assets for Beauvillier at the deadline. I think you might be better off to hold on to him.
Did your cats party when you left for California?
They were so upset.
Our cats were, man.
Every time we come home, there's a change in the power dynamic. So it takes a little while for me to restore order. Clearly, the kittens ruled the roost while we were gone. I came into my room when I came back, and the kittens were on top of these cat trees and look around like, so we own this now. I'm like,
now ours.
Nope. So we had to drag Bear out of where she was hiding.
Like, and literally, I had to
Shadow
pull her
was
out.
hiding. So clearly, when we're not here, the kittens decide, all right, nobody can stop us. We're taking over the world. So that's something to keep an eye on.
I always thought the cats watched the games and they wrote down the highlights. That'd be nice. That'd be helpful.
Azrael watched games a couple months ago, but she's outgrown it.
She's busy.
She's outgrown it now.
Do you have a Coachella Valley Firebirds jersey yet? Where do you rank them in AHL?
I don't. I want one. I want the home one. They look really, really nice, but I do not have them as of yet. So I plan to, but the only place I can find them is through the team store, which is ridiculously expensive considering the shipping and everything. So I haven't ordered any of them yet.
We know Bergeron historic claim of the Selke, but who is the Norris Trophy, Hart Trophy equivalent the last 20 years equal to Berge and Selke?
Hart Trophy, I would say over 20 years, it would have to be Crosby. If you go back 20 years, it'd have to be Lidstrom for the best defenseman. I mean, he was in the Norris Trophy voting every single year, even in years where I didn't think he was that great by his own standards, but he was still one of the top 3 in the league.
Other than Bertuzzi and maybe Larkin, who else on the Red Wings could draw some interest at the deadline?
Any defenseman on an expiring contract is going to attract interest. There's the possibility that somebody circles back on Nedeljkovic at the deadline and decides to bring him in for a number 2 or a number 3 option. There's not a lot with the Wings, but I think Bertuzzi could bring back a pretty healthy return if they make him available.
When are you coming down for a Kraken game? It's not that far of a drive. It's only across international borders and 2 to 3 hours each way, depending on traffic. And the game doesn't start till 7 at the earliest. So we'd get home at midnight.
So we'd have to leave here at the latest. We'd be leaving here at about 2:00, and at the earliest we'd get back would be 1 in the morning. So it's an all day thing.
We have children.
Going to Vancouver games can be a pain.
There's a reason we barely get to any of those.
Yeah, there's a reason we're already done with Vancouver games for the year. So, yeah.
Would you live in Winnipeg? No.
I can't see it. I don't do well with cold. And so Winnipeg probably wouldn't mix with. And I don't like bugs.
I love where we live.
I've heard about the bugs in Manitoba, and apparently the bugs in Manitoba are about the same size as our cat here.
I believe that.
So, not liking black flies. Apparently black flies are really bad.
Black flies are the worst. They're awful.
So
black flies are awful.
No, we don't have giant bugs, and it doesn't get really cold. It's kind of nice here.
We live in a kind of fantastic part of the world. I really like where we live. I like it here. I have no desire to move elsewhere. So, and again, we have children, so you don't just, I'm going to move to a different part of the country. Nah.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
What are your opinions on the New York Rangers heading forward?
They're going to be one of the favorites in the East. I will be very interested to see who wins that three-way race for first in the division between Carolina, New Jersey, and the Rangers, because you can't count the Rangers out yet.
You need to make it a 3-day weekend for Seattle. We've talked about that if we were going to a Seattle game, we'd kind of have to stay in Seattle for the night.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be really, really hard. But again, we have kids.
So, I mean, if they had,
do we take all of our kids with us?
If they had a home game, what would really be good for us would be if it was in August.
That would work a lot
better. Work really well. Yeah. We would totally be down for a Seattle Kraken game second week of August.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Best option for a Wild pickup this year?
What do you think the Wild need?
Well, another goalie would be awesome, but
I don't think that's going to happen. They've committed to Fleury. They've committed to Fleury, and they've got Gustafsson there too. I think Dumba's going to go. I don't know how much trade value he has since he's been a healthy scratch, but I think Dumba's going to go, and I think they're looking for a forward. So wait for the Besser for Dumba trade suggestions to start flying again. Even though that trade doesn't make any sense for either team, that ends up being out there.
Will Scott Mayfield's free agent market be more robust than we think? I could see him getting a Jamie Oleksiak deal around $520.
Mayfield's had a very good year. He will attract some interest. I could see him being in the $4 million range. I don't know if it would be a 5-year deal, but you can end up with a bidding war, and that could absolutely happen. Mayfield's underrated because he plays for the Islanders, so he does get overlooked.
Kids want to have a house party. You haven't met our kids, have you?
Our kids, the house party would be considered having access to the Wi-Fi and nobody putting any time limits on how long they can watch videos.
We can play video games all day and not go to bed.
I can be on my tablet all day. Party. And
they would all be in their individual rooms.
There'd be no noise.
Playing electronics.
Because they'd be in their own rooms. There's no party anything.
Nah.
It's really not there.
They're teenage boys, but nah.
They're not partiers.
Nah. Somehow we raised geeky children. I have no idea how that happened.
I don't know how that happened.
It's weird.
I had nothing to do with it.
Do you think the time is up for the Capitals?
As a Stanley Cup contender, they beat Boston yesterday. I didn't think Boston played very well either, but a lot of that's to do with the Capitals too. I think that the odds of them making the playoffs are good, but I think the odds of them getting out of the first round, they're not great. So for the Caps, time as a contender is probably up, but it's hard to sell that when you've got Ovechkin chasing Gretzky's record.
Kids these days.
That's as close to partying as they get. They really don't do much in terms of socialization outside the house.
They do. That's not accurate.
Well, I mean, the clubs they belong to, the stuff they
definitely do social
What I mean
stuff.
is they don't have friends come over. They don't go over to friends' houses for sleepovers.
No.
It's not the same.
No, they really don't.
When I was a kid, I was always gone on the weekend. I was always at friends' houses for sleepovers or having friends over. Which didn't happen that much. But I lived in a trailer, but they had houses, so I was usually going to their place.
When can we expect a WHA video?
Well, I did all the WHA videos a couple years ago where I went through year by year. I do want to do more videos on like defunct teams and stuff of that nature. The video I did the other day on the Danville team, the Vermilion County, somebody sent me a video related to the owner of that team. It's 2 hours long, so I've not watched it yet, but I intend to. So don't be surprised when there's a part 2 to that video about the Bobcats going under.
I'm a huge Sammy fan since ROH, but at the same time, I acknowledge the tribal chief.
Oos.
Okay, that being said, excited for Elimination Chamber.
I've been a Sami Zayn fan for ages. The fact that that's going to be in Montreal, the crowd's going to go crazy. I expect some kind of a false finish where he looks like he's won the belt and he holds the belt high, and then they're going to screw him out of it. And I think that's what's going to happen. I would think that you'll need armed guards to get Roman Reigns out of that building with the belt. And I don't think they'll try to emulate the screw job, this Shawn Michaels thing. I don't think they'll do that. But something I think will happen where it looks like Sammy's won the belt and then he didn't. And that's my expectation.
Would you ever consider doing a video on the hockey Funko Pops you have on the set? He has other ones that are not on the set too.
And then I have all the Entertainment Guy ones too. I even have a couple down here that I didn't have room for. And yeah, there's ones on the Entertainment Guy set as well. If I did something like that, it would probably be a short. I would probably post a short to the channel. I didn't do shorts this week because when I was doing them during our time in Disney, and then I would check like how much ad revenue they generated, it was like 50 cents. I'm like, oh my gosh, this got like 5,000 views and it generated 50 cents of revenue. Why? Just why? And that was eye-opening. Really? I didn't expect like great numbers from it, but 50 cents. I could do a career video, and I could do a career video on somebody that doesn't exist and make 50 cents. Just make a guy up. I've done that before.
You have, yeah.
Burger Diggins.
Bean pot preview video coming. Do you know what that means? Because I don't.
Bean pot. That's like Boston thing, I think.
I have no idea. It's like secret words. I don't know what that means. Sorry. I have no clue. Hey, no, Shannon.
What?
50 cents week. Right.
Yeah, it just, I was really kind of surprised. I was like, wow, this is not what I thought. Like, I didn't expect them to make a lot, but I figured more than 50 cents. The first ones I did in Disneyland for the Entertainment Guy, the first day, the two combined made 13 cents.
Nice.
Like, I don't think 13 cents.
Could buy, no.
There's nothing in that park I could have bought with 13 cents.
You could throw it in the wishing well. There you go.
So yeah, 13 cents. That was eye-opening. I was like, wow, I made 13 cents today. Profit.
Do you ever do meet and greet? We had one last week.
We had one in Anaheim.
It was really cold.
We do meetups locally where we have street hockey and floor hockey. There may be a date coming up soon where we might be able to have one. And then we'll see what we throw together for that. So, but that's locally. And then during the summer, our plan is we'd like to do Vegas and Disneyland again, just the two of us. And so,
which we had originally planned to do back in 2020. And then the world shut down. We had it booked and everything.
Yeah. And then the world shut down. So now we're trying to put that trip together, and then we could probably, do something during that trip. Maybe something along the lines of, we're going to be on this ride in Disneyland, so if you want to meet us, cool. Where we're going to be.
Try and find us.
Yeah.
So we had quite a few people see us in Disneyland.
Yes. The funny thing was, it was the last day. It was the last day that it really picked up.
Well, when we went to Fantasmic too, we had like 3 people see us right in a row.
Right.
When we were going to the fireworks and stuff.
And then there was the employee that actually got us the good seat at the Fantasmic show.
That was awesome.
So, because he's a subscriber and we were having a hard time finding a place. We wanted a really nice place to sit.
I wanted to be able to see because I'm not tall. Our children are not tall.
So he said, I'll try to make some magic. Just give me a minute.
That was awesome.
He got us into a reserved area, and it was fantastic. We had a perfect view, right straight on with it.
That was great.
She took the video, which has been uploaded to the Entertainment Guy, and it's all because Damien helped us out with that. So that was great. Awesome. And then we saw him again at the Pooh ride.
Yes. After. I love the Winnie the Pooh ride. So
she really does, and I don't understand it, but
because that was my favorite when I was little.
Okay.
I loved Winnie the Pooh. That was my very favorite. Was Winnie the Pooh, and I really like that Heffalumps and Woozle's room. I think it's cool. Why not add a bearded evil Batman to your shelf?
I haven't seen a bearded evil Batman anywhere. I mean, if I did a Darkest Timeline again, I could just paint like a little beard on him for that video and put like a little goatee on my face too, so that we're in the Darkest Timeline, because that's what you do. It's a Star Wars thing. I'm not growing the goatee before anybody suggests it, because then I just look like I'm 80 and I should be selling you gold.
I was just thinking like a prospector
doing the little dance. Yeah, no. Nope.
How to make Shannon look really old. facial hair.
Yeah, I turn into a mascot really quickly.
UP.
Right? Yeah.
Get gold UP. Okay.
All I need then is a monocle. A little monocle.
There you go. Okay. New Jersey regret not offering Brad the Cousins contract.
I don't know if they're regretting it or not. I think for New Jersey, I think they have an internal cap. I think it's worked pretty well so far. I mean, we'll see long-term how it works out, but New Jersey's in pretty good shape cap-wise. So I don't know that they have any regrets. I think Buffalo's just knocking it out of the park with their contracts right now.
Any interest in Indigenous hockey tournaments? Fred Saskaskamoose. Oh my gosh, I totally killed it. Tourney is a national Indigenous tournament.
I've heard of that.
Awesome. Yep, I have heard of that.
I mean, I played floor hockey with a lot of natives in school because there were a lot of natives in my school where I lived.
Yep.
I know we still, if we play out in Chilliwack, my friend Barry still comes out. But yeah, I mean, I do like the tournaments. I do like all the hockey stuff. I really do. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of having the time for all of it. And I always feel like if I'm going to cover this, I want to give my everything to this so it doesn't feel like I half-assed it. And I'm just throwing that in there just to say, see, look, I did that. And it's just some short little blurb, and it's not nearly as in-depth. So that's one thing I always consider when it comes to all the other tournaments and everything else that goes on around hockey.
That's really related to, there was a question, just a couple up asking if you get burnt out sometimes.
Oh,
he definitely does.
Yeah. By the time I was done that 30-second video of the 32 teams at the deadline, I was done. Like I was done.
And days like yesterday where games start at 9 a.m. and the last game starts at 8 p.m. That was so stupid.
Game ended last night at 10:32.
So stupid. So that's just all day Shannon
13
watching
and a half
videos
hours of hockey
and taking notes. It's a lot. That's a lot for anybody.
It's one of those things that I've had to kind of just realize that's just part of the way the schedule works, especially around the Super Bowl. But it's frustrating when I want to do videos and I can't. So when I see news stuff happening and I'm like, I don't have time to make a video on this. That sucks. Don't trade Chychrun right now. I don't have time to do the video on a Chychrun trade. That'd be rude. So it does get frustrating because there's a lot of things that I had ideas for while we were out on holiday. I was like, oh, I could do a video on this. I could do a video. And I've only been able to do some of it. I haven't been able to do all of it.
What do you think the biggest surprise of the trade deadline, or what is the trade that you want to happen that isn't a common trade rumor?
The trade deadline, there's always trades we don't see coming. I think with coming back to Vancouver, I think Besser's probably on his way out, but I think one to watch might be Garland. So people are talking about Kuzmenko getting his ice time cut. Oh, he's on the third line. Yeah, see, so we're coming up to the trade deadline. I think they want to highlight Besser, and I think Garland as well, because I think they want to move these players. Garland might be a little bit easier to move than Besser, but you have to get him going. You have to get him playing well. You have to showcase him. You've already got Kuzmenko signed. You're not showcasing him for anything. So you could drop his ice time for a couple of weeks. It's not a big deal. And it gives you a chance to really show everybody. So Garland, I think, could be one to watch at the deadline and might actually attract a decent return for the Canucks.
Favorite NHL game and why? Mine was NHL Breakaway 98 on the Nintendo 64 until I was a pro and eventually ended up in Islanders, McDavid, Barzal, Savoy, and Kane.
My favorites would be, now originally it would have been Blades of Steel, because Blades of Steel had that great music. Absolutely. And when you won the Stanley Cup and you're carrying around, it's a chalice. They don't actually give you the Stanley Cup, so they didn't have NHL rights. But you carry that around and you're like, I'm carrying the Stanley Cup. It feels great. And they give you the little video at the end too, where they have music and it's a celebration. But then Stanley Cup, I think it was just Stanley Cup was one I used to play on the Super Nintendo. And I talked about this in a video today because there was a goal that Carlson scored. So from the blue line, you could lob the puck. So you're not actually taking a shot on the net. So the AI goaltender wouldn't realize it was a shot on net. It went in every single time. Weird. I think the highest score I ever had in a game was 36 or 38-0. But I was able to beat my friends in that game because when the puck changes hands, when the other team gets it, the entire ice surface twirls. Oh. So every time there's a change of possession, the entire ice surface twirls.
Nope.
I was able to figure that out easy.
I couldn't.
I was great with it. And my friends would get so disoriented, and they're like, I don't understand what the hell's going on. I'm like, well, I just scored, so that might help.
I wouldn't be able to do that either.
I was the only one I was ever really good at. And it was because the whole ice surface. And while you're skating, you can see the little notches in the ice from your skating. So I'd like skate in little circles and little patterns. I'd play by myself and do like little things with it.
Dork.
Of course I was a dork.
Right. What are your thoughts on reducing the game summary videos on these busy days to film ideas for other videos?
I can't see it.
That would be hard for him to shorten it more. He already really watches how long he takes on each game's summary for it. Yep. That would be very difficult to shorten it even more. Yeah, he already tries to shorten it, especially games like yesterday when he has to fit it into an intermission.
So I'm still needing to watch. So because I'm still needing to watch all of that hockey, it doesn't really save me any time because I still have to watch. It's the watching that for 13 and a half hours yesterday just ate so much time.
Does Shannon remember Gretzky's 3D hockey?
Yeah, I never had that one. That was one I never had, but I remember it. I think that one was on the Sega Genesis as well as Nintendo. I think that's the one I'm thinking about. There were a couple of different Gretzky games, because he was the most marketable, of course. But yeah, I think I played it. I don't think I ever had it. I think my friend had it.
Have you seen the first episode of season 9 of The Flash?
Not yet. And now I'm reading they're going to bring back Reverse Flash again, and I'm like, oh my god! Guess how many times?
Why you still watch
guess how many times they've brought back the Reverse Flash? This will be the 7th time. The 7th time.
I really have no idea why you watch that show.
7 times.
I can't watch a show for that many seasons.
Every time it's like
any show.
I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do. I'm bored. Do you want to put in the Reverse Flash? Sure. It's the same villain every single damn time. Always. Just knock it off. And I know it's gonna end with them face to face and be like, I knew it was gonna come down to you and me, Flash. I knew too, Eobard. And then Flash will kill him, or he'll turn into a monkey, or I don't know what's gonna happen.
When's the Disney trip video review coming?
So
we do need to do that. Maybe we'd have time tonight for
you could film the kids with the phone.
Us.
You could film the kids with the phone and just have them yap. Kids love yapping.
Oh my gosh, do they ever?
Especially if you're saying you want to talk about Disneyland. Boy, how do we?
They did a video call with the grandparents today, and I could hear it was just nonstop. And then in Star Wars Land, and look at what I bought. Look what this does. In 20 minutes of look at this cool thing that I bought. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could talk. But we might have time to do video of just us tonight.
I'd rather do it tomorrow.
Well, fine then.
Well, I want to wait till I'm like well rested and not kind of burnt out on all the weekend's festivities of all the festivities of fun that
all the festivities are funny.
Yeah. Because it's a lot.
Stars need a forward or defense.
I think they'll be looking to add a little bit of depth up front. You can always add depth on the blue line. Every contending team's going to do that, but a little bit of depth up front wouldn't hurt.
Awesome looking jersey you have on, Shannon.
Thank you.
I know, isn't it beautiful?
Yeah. Didn't I order you one too?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
you have one too.
Because when it came out, you were like, did you want this? I've only been saying for years that I needed that.
Well, and they've never released the jersey until this year.
I know.
And even still, it's a Fanatic, so you can see the shininess of the logo. That's all.
Yeah.
Fanatic-y.
It's true. Okay. Let's see. If the Blackhawks unfortunately get the 5th or worst pick in 2023, I'd like them to trade it to the Ducks for McTavish. Would the Ducks do that trade?
I don't think so, unless the Ducks already have the number 1 pick and they want to have multiple picks that year. Then maybe, but I don't know, because McTavish looks like a real keeper. He's got definite chemistry with the other young guys on that roster right now. I'm not sure the Ducks would be willing to move McTavish.
Oh gosh, I was so confused with this. How was the nanny you took with you to Disney? I was like, nanny?
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom had a really fun time. She totally needs to just go to Disneyland just herself and just wander around.
I do look forward to you and I wandering around.
So much fun.
So the plan is I want to do Vegas first and then Disney. Although Vegas, because the price in Vegas is so much higher on some days than others, we'll see.
Do you see the Capitals picking up anyone major?
No, they already have a glut of forwards. They may trade a forward in order to get some help on the blue line. I don't think the Caps are going to do anything major. There's a lot of teams right now that I think would love to if they had the cap space to make it work.
Is it possible the Kings put together a big enough package for Chychrun and Vejmelka?
I don't think. See, Vejmelka would be pricey too. Coyotes aren't just going to give him away. So if they're going to get Chychrun, who he's got the good cap hit and he's got the term, so does Vejmelka. So that'll be a pretty pricey deal. I'm not sure LA's in that position yet.
You could go to Disneyland and fly to Vegas and back in a day. Oh, why would you want to go to Vegas and back in a day? That'd be a day of flying and being in the sitting in the airports.
That'd be awful.
And that'd be twice that you'd have to go through TSA and give them the opportunity to molest you, and they don't even pay you for it and pass.
TSA is such a pain.
Awful.
They're a pain.
Awful. But when you take small children with you, you get to go through the not molestation line, which is my favorite.
You didn't when you came out of Seattle.
I didn't. No, I went through a separate line. I didn't have to go through.
I thought you got bugged coming through Seattle.
No, they had to check my hair clip. I told him before that my hair clip would set it off.
Yeah.
But he just wanted me. He did not touch me because I went through the kid line.
Okay. So that was the other time we went to Vegas that you.
I always get picked out of line. Always. It's awful. Awful, awful, awful. But yeah. Thoughts on Leafs trade options?
When the Chychrun stuff came down, immediately people said, what about the Leafs? There's the Karlsson rumors out there. People mentioned the Leafs. I don't know that the Leafs are going to do anything major. Obviously, they're going to be having issues with the cap as well. I think it'll be something more along the minor side of things for them. I know it won't be enough for some people. I know people won't be happy. But I think they're going to make depth moves. Maybe add a goaltender if they don't feel like Murray's going to be 100%. But yeah, outside of that, I think they're in. I think they'll be fine.
Oh. Do they ever do anything with seeing all the whiteboards in suitcases?
I just took one, and I took the small one.
We have taken all the set stuff.
It's the magnets
pretty well.
It's the magnets that bother.
The magnet and the mic. So we always check those. We do not.
The shape of the microphone. The shape of the microphone throws them off, and then its weight. And so I put that in the check luggage. I wrap that in close so it doesn't get dinged up. And same with the magnets, because I know if I have the magnets in my carry-on, that's going to flag it, and they're going to ask me, "Why do you have magnets? What do you have them for? What you do what now?" So I just make sure that goes in the check bag.
Yeah, we've got pretty good at what sets off their things and what doesn't, though they do still check our bags. Like they always pull at least one of our bags aside.
I think everything I was bringing back got pulled coming through John Wayne.
Almost every time. Yeah.
We were coming through John Wayne. I think everything was
that one's
pulled.
Ours. And is that one? Yep. That one's ours too. Yep. That's, and that one's ours. All of those bags, those are all ours. Yeah. Yeah, magnets mess with the X-ray machines. They can't tell what they are, and they're huge and black in their X-ray machines.
And then it leads to all kinds of questions.
So they have to open up the bags and everything. So we just check all of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, the mic, we've only had that once, and we've always checked it since then.
Yep.
But
not
a football guy. Well, it's hockey.
Yeah, I like football, but I don't care about the Eagles or the Chiefs, so I'll just find out the score later. I'm not overly concerned.
One time Denver TSA confiscated one of my jars of peanut butter, but not the other one. Flawless security. Oh, why'd they take? They probably just took it because they were hungry.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I love peanut butter.
Somebody brought bread to work, and they're like, what's the point of having bread? There's not. Oh, never mind. This guy's got peanut butter. Be right back. So yeah, they needed to have lunch.
Has Auntie Colleen been blocked? I didn't see somebody block her. I can see when people block.
I haven't seen anything.
Jakob Peltier, upside down, 25 goals, second line. Care. Let me see.
I don't know if Peltier, I don't know if I'd put him in as a 25 goal scorer, but he's made the gradual rise up their lineup. I think I think he'll be fine. And again with Peltier, I think there's more hype around him right now than substance, but he does have potential.
Islam or I don't know.
No idea.
Volkanovsky?
No idea.
I don't know who that is. They stopped me for a bag of almonds. Oh,
they were hungry
sad.
too. Maybe it was the same.
Almonds.
Maybe it was the same TSA that wanted the peanut butter too.
It's probably they needed more protein in their diet. So
it is important to have that if you're TSA. Very important.
At this moment, who is your heart pick?
It's McDavid. I don't like every time I hear, like today or yesterday before the Boston game. Pasternak's in the conversation. Not for the Hart. He's not like, and he's been the most valuable player for Boston. But yeah, it's McDavid's award. I would be very surprised if McDavid doesn't win the Hart, and if it's not near unanimous first place. Who's your pick for the Hart?
I really, really do not have a pick. Oh, I'm trying to.
You sure?
I am sure.
Excuse me.
Did I read this one?
Yes.
Okay. I thought so, but wasn't positive.
Absolutely you did.
Okay. Hold on.
So all I've got on the TV is just an old rerun of Friends because I don't need to watch it. I already know what's going on because I've watched all the episodes. And I just think to myself, I'm sure that joke didn't age well. That joke probably aged all right. Generally, Phoebe's the best of the characters on the show. I just didn't realize it at the time.
Peanut butter is considered a liquid by TSA standards. Well, I guess if they consider lotion and toothpaste a liquid, right?
Well,
I guess.
What if you freeze your peanut butter?
I took our peanut butter. I did bring a jar of peanut butter to Disneyland. I put it in our check bag. You put it in the check bag.
Yeah.
What's the biggest need right now for the Sabres, goaltending or defense?
Goaltending. It's gonna be a shame if they miss the playoffs in part because like Luukkonen's been good, but they really need another quality guy. And Comrie, when he's been healthy, it just hasn't worked out. Anderson's good at times, but I think if they're going to make the playoffs, they need a goalie who can steal some games, and I don't know that they have that right now.
Okay, Mom, if you think she's blocked, send me a link. Like if she clicks on her username, it takes her to her channel, even though she doesn't have videos. Send me that link, and then I can unblock her. But I can't see that she's blocked on here. But you can send that link to me, and then I can unblock her. Auntie Colleen takes 000 knitting needles and they don't get confiscated. I have never had them take any of my knitting or crochet or anything. I have had them pull my stuff aside because
the shape of it.
Like I had funny shaped scissor, like yarn snips.
Yep.
Or they've pulled out my yarn snips more than once just to see what they are, but I've never had them confiscate anything. All right. If you're talking about beta males, that's going to go away. Cool. Not needed on here. Thanks. Yeah. Stuck on Small World for 45 minutes. Feel your pain. Oh, it was not 45 minutes. He might have felt like it was 45 minutes.
He might have if he was stuck on it for 40.
I know you're old, but she does have a channel. If you're able to comment on here and you have a name, it means you have a channel.
That's right.
Just because you've never posted a video doesn't mean you don't.
It'll just say this channel does not have any content.
And you send me the link, and then I can easily unblock it. Otherwise, we have so many blocked people that it's near impossible for me to find a specific name. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of blocked people.
Considering
on this
all the
page.
Bots that I've had to block over the years.
Years of blocking accounts.
Yeah. Oh, you're a good kid.
Do you think the Kraken will try and move on from Grubauer in off season if that is even possible?
I think they will try. The one thing is Jones's play has been inconsistent as well. It's really going to depend on Drieger. If Drieger comes back before the season's done and plays really well, that would make it easier. But if that doesn't happen, I do wonder what they're going to do, because goaltending could cost them wins in the playoffs and could potentially cost them playoffs if they go into another tough stretch here, especially with how close the Pacific is.
Will we start seeing kids go to NCAA route instead of junior with the success of McAvoy, Fox, McCarr, and Bernier?
I think most Canadian kids will still go through junior. I know there's a lot of junior B kids that end up going, so like BCHL and stuff. I know a lot of them end up going the NCAA route. I think it's going to be a popular thing to do to go to NCAA, but there's also a lot of kids that want to go to the NHL as soon as possible. And you go the NCAA route, you're delaying that. Look.
Oh, I was on that last week.
They showed Haunted Mansion, too.
Oh, I was not in Haunted Mansion.
That's Disney World, too, so you weren't on that one because that's Disney World. So you're lying because that was the Florida one.
2 trips in a row that Haunted Mansion has been closed. And it closed 2 days before we went. And it opened like 3 days after we got home. And that's just mean.
I just carried you. You don't need me to pick you up again.
Got to block the trolls, the haters, and the know-it-alls. We don't block the know-it-alls unless they're being an ass.
Know-it-alls are fine.
We just block people if they're being jerks and they are not adding anything to the conversation. If they're just on there causing trouble.
There are people who've been on the channel for years that have never had anything other than an argument with me. But again, if they're not crossing any kind of line and if they're, keeping things civil, there's no reason to ban them.
No, it's when people are being complete jerks and just being awful. That's when they get blocked.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the Devils looking to make a splash, which of their prospects are untouchable?
I would think Nemitz is probably untouchable. I've seen Nemitz's name out there. I think if Mahat Madulin had value, I think they would be probably willing to move on from him. We'll see. We'll see. But I think Nemitz is probably their one prospect that I would think should be untouchable.
Where's Shadow? I don't know. He hasn't been in here this whole live stream. That's crazy.
Maple's on the other cat tree. I don't know where he is.
Sleeping on the stairs or something. He likes to be on the stairs.
Probably. Now that I'm in here, he's not crying. He was crying for ages earlier. And just howling. I'm like, what the hell's your problem, cat? Everybody's here.
How can somebody get blocked for a word? Where's the First Amendment? The First Amendment would be in the United States, which we are not a part of.
We're not the government.
The First Amendment also states that the government cannot dictate your speech.
Right.
We are not the American government. Yeah. So we cannot impact your freedom of speech.
True.
You're welcome.
True. Please
learn about what the First Amendment is before you tell people they're taking away your First Amendment rights.
No.
We are not capable of that.
I don't think I'm government. I'm pretty sure.
In the America, nor the American government.
No.
But.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someday I will run the world and it will be glorious.
It's a YouTube channel. We could block people for whatever we wanted to. But all right. Anyways. Just got a projector to watch hockey on my patio, coupled with our rainbow lights. My wife is making a sign that says rainbow lights and hockey fights. That's great. That's fantastic.
That's a good name for a TV show.
That'd be fun, right?
Yeah, that could totally work.
How good has Kevin Adams done with the Sabres?
He's done quite well. I hope that the patience will continue in that. I mean, the attendance has been miserable for the Sabres for the last couple of years, and I get it. But I hope that the patience in the fan base is there because they're building to something. And I think next season could be a big year for them.
What's the story with the jersey you're wearing, Shannon?
This is the WASAC jersey. So this is just your native design, and it is fantastic.
It's beautiful.
This is a design that they've worn as warm-ups. I think they've done warm-ups with these.
Yes.
And they've never actually worn it in a game. There's never been an Adidas version. But I hope they bring it as a third because I think it would be absolutely fantastic as a third jersey.
Canada does not have freedom of speech. Nope. That is an American thing. We have freedom of expression, which is different.
And it's limited.
Hate speech is not protected.
Yeah, it's limited.
We don't have that.
There are limitations.
So whenever you hear a Canadian complaining about freedom of speech, they have not been paying attention.
No. We have freedom of expression, which is different.
There you go. I just received an email claiming my Venmo is compromised. I don't use Venmo.
I get ones that my Netflix account's been hacked, and my Netflix account's I need to update my payment information for Netflix.
That my CIBC has been hacked or something.
I used to get told my World of Warcraft account was hacked, and I was like, that's amazing since I don't have a World of Warcraft account. I don't know how somebody would have hacked that, but have at her.
I live on the res. We have freedom of pointing with our lips for direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Where do you think Buffalo would trade Kyle Okposo?
See, I don't think Okposo is going to be on the market. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't return to Buffalo. Now, if they end up renting him out at the deadline, you'd be looking for any team that's looking for experience up front. I think if there's a way to make it work cap-wise, I could see Seattle being a good destination because they could probably use another veteran, especially from depth perspective. I think if he was available, if they were willing to retain some salary, he might be a popular target, but I would be very surprised if they actually don't just keep him and re-sign him for next year.
Nope. All right. Do you think the Rangers are done with trades or more to come?
The big trade has been made. Tarasenko's the big deal. I would think there'll be some minor deals. I think there's going to be a lot of minor deals, a lot of depth guys getting moved up front and on the blue line. Probably like number 3 goaltenders getting moved too. There'll be a lot of trades. But for a team like the Rangers, I think the big move was Tarasenko. I think they're done with the big moves. That doesn't come in.
When is the trade deadline?
March the 3rd. March the 3rd is the trade deadline. No, sweetie, that doesn't come in here. We've had this discussion. That doesn't come in here.
But yes.
She brings her toy in here, and I've told her it doesn't come in here. Come on. I'll put it out again. You play with this out there. Okay? Because then you get the rabbits over here, and then the rabbits want to know what you're doing. Come on.
Where are the bunnies? Well, there's one right here right there on the floor. She's following Shannon now. And there's one right over there. And then the other 4 are upstairs.
Come here, sweetie. I gotcha.
Meet up in Toronto when? Oh, we'd have to get out to Toronto.
Yeah, we'd have to go to Toronto, which is not easy.
Never done.
Traveling across Canada is expensive and time consuming. Bye.
Is there ever a possibility for there to be a 3 California team meet up?
We'd have to hit Northern California for San Jose. That makes the logistics of that tough.
That sounds like a holiday that would be a lot of meetups. And as fun as meetups are, it's not fun when it takes up your entire holiday. What's the total number of rabbits and kittens we have? We have 6 rabbits and 5 cats.
And 2 rabbits are down here on the set with me every day. Most of the cats are normally in here during the day too.
At some point or another.
So she comes down on her own. We open up the enclosure upstairs. She comes running down here. She spends the day with me. And so does Licorice. Licorice usually comes down right after her, and he runs in here too. It's always it's amazing that the animals chose to be in here with me.
Because you're always here.
There you go.
There's always you here to mooch food from.
You're more of a challenge.
California is way too big for that. LOL. It is large.
So here's Licorice. He's the bunny rabbit that you guys would have seen about a year ago. That just started climbing the cat tree and sitting on a cat tree. He doesn't do that anymore. No, you don't climb the cat tree anymore. People don't see you in videos. They don't know you're here. Hi, sweetie. See, now he's grooming me.
Pulley destination?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting with Pulley. So the expectation is that he's going to be waived on Tuesday if they can't trade him before that. At that cap hit, I don't know who's taking that on. They might have to retain some money on that. And you're better off waiving him than retaining money on that deal. It's a matter of he needs the fresh start. He's needed it for years. It's a shame he didn't get it before now. I don't know how much interest there is on the market for him, if any, right now.
Do the bunnies know how to use the litter box? Absolutely, or they wouldn't be in here.
Yeah, they have one in here.
No, they have to be. Otherwise, they would not be roaming the house. That would be disgusting. That'd be gross.
They're pretty clean.
Our rabbits are they're good clean. Buns. Yeah, we couldn't have bunnies running around the house if they weren't litter trained and didn't chew on everything.
Good girl.
DeBrincat re-signs long-term or walks to UFA.
Apparently, Ottawa's not interested in moving him. That's what was said last night in 32 Thoughts. I can't see Ottawa deciding not to move him unless they were planning on re-signing him. I think they want to hold on to him. DeBrincat's shown signs in Ottawa of the scoring that he showed in Chicago before this year. And I don't think you want to throw out the baby with the bathwater and just start pitching everybody. So I think DeBrincat's sticking around.
Any intention on getting puppies? No. We have 5 cats and 6 rabbits and 3 children.
Things would have to change dramatically in this house.
We love dogs, but no.
I love puppies. Every time we were going to Disney, there's always the helper dogs, and we were always talking to them, and you're not allowed to pet them because the world sucks. But yeah, I love dogs. Always loved dogs. And when I was growing up, I always had 1 cat and 1 dog. We would always have 1 of each.
We had 2 dogs. We always had 2. But no, it wouldn't work in our house. Too many other animals and 3 children, and one of which would not do well with dogs. So nope.
Right.
Nope.
Yeah, agreed.
Do you read the hockey content on The Athletic?
It depends on the article. There's a lot of athletic stuff that I will read through. I do have a paid subscription to The Athletic. There are times where it seems like there's more inside information, although I'll also say there's times where I read articles on there and I'm like, this is all conjecture and opinion more than anything. And it drives me nuts if I'm reading an article and it says, and people are unanimous on this, and I'm like, well, I'm not, so nope. And so that can take me out of it. But again, yeah, The Athletic's pretty good.
Any 2023 concerts on your schedule?
No, but I'm trying to talk her into taking the kids to see Disturbed. Disturbed's coming in April to Abbotsford, and I think the boys would really appreciate that concert.
That would be fun.
Yep, I think they'd like that.
Who's actually in charge over there, you or your menagerie? Well, definitely the animals definitely have the say. Yeah.
Depends on what's going on. Hey, sweetie. Depends what's going on.
Bang at her feet.
Yeah. That's why I stand the way I do in videos. And if you see me looking down a lot during videos, it's because there's a rabbit right near my feet. The other day, I'm trying to come out of the room, and Licorice decided he was following me, and he was right in between my feet. And, of course, I'm terrified of stepping on a rabbit.
I know.
So...
Look at this little face. Cheers. See, look at that face. Oh, my gosh. There, see? I just made the live stream way better. It improved immensely.
What do I think about UFOs? See, this is the thing. Now people think that there's UFOs being shot down over Alaska. Why would they go to Alaska?
All a UFO means is that you don't know what it is yet. Right. That doesn't mean that it's an alien or anything like that. No. Yeah.
Hi. How are you? How you doing, sweetie? Is she holding you hostage?
Cinnabon loves me. Sweetheart? She's my bud.
She's such a sweet about it.
I've taught her to dance on her tiptoes too.
Do you think the Islanders are going to do any more trades?
Yes. I don't think there'll be anything major, and I think they'll come in after the deadline because it's Lou Lamoriello's way that we don't know what's going on with him until usually the last moment.
How do you possibly keep animal hair off of the jerseys?
They don't go in the jerseys.
No, you can see they're all hanging up like that, and you can see the fence in front of the jerseys.
Yep.
But so when they're hanging like that, fur doesn't get all over them. And I vacuum our house every other day. And we have a bunch of air filters. A bunch of very strong air filters because I have horrible allergies. But that really helps. We don't have fur all over our house.
No.
I do a lot of vacuuming of fur. Did you like the band Kitty in the early 2000s? Of course
I just got her one of their albums.
So. I really liked Kitty.
Yeah.
Kitty's great. Could the Blues trade O'Reilly and re-sign him in the summer?
They could do that. I know the NHL didn't like the rental, the hired gun kind of thing, dating back to Atlanta doing that in 2007. But yeah, there's no reason they can't do that. I do think that if O'Reilly moves on, that'll probably be it for O'Reilly in St. Louis. I'd be kind of surprised if he re-signed there, but it's happened before.
What kind of air filter do you use? I have 2 rainbow air filters. They use water, so the air filter doesn't get clogged because with all the animals, they get clogged really quickly. I also use the Sensi air filters. Their air filter is fantastic because it can sense how clean your air is, and so it turns up the power if it's dirty, and then it tells me when I need to change the air filter, which in our house is about every month and a half. So I really like those air filters. And then I have some just regular air filters we got from Amazon, but I don't like those as much. So there you go. Do you have homeowners insurance for the jerseys? We have renters insurance, which covers all of our belongings. So yes.
Yep. We're covered.
We do get asked that a lot. Yes, we have insurance.
Yep.
As everybody should. Everybody should have insurance.
Agreed.
Have insurance.
Agreed.
Insurance is important.
It definitely helps.
When the playoffs start, thoughts on having your pets predict the brackets? I did that last year. That was way harder than you would think it would be.
That was kind of a pain.
That was so hard. Didn't work very well.
No, that was a pain. Even with the cats, it was a pain.
They didn't. Surprising. I know the cats didn't cooperate.
So I can try something like that this year.
I tried.
I don't have any optimism. I'm sorry, I don't have optimism, sweetie. I just don't. Because I don't.
You tell him.
What is she after?
You tell him, Bear.
There's still food in that plate.
Between Meyer, O'Reilly, Taves, Kane, and Bertuzzi, who do you see the Canes realistically getting?
The price on Meyer is going to be expensive. Of those options, O'Reilly might be a really good one. He's a veteran forward, could use a change of scenery. They've got a lot of veteran forwards that play in that bottom 6. He can play second or third line. I think he'd be a solid addition for Carolina.
She's got her.
Yeah, she hugs.
Yeah, I know. This is funny. She's such an odd cat.
She hugs.
CLS will draft one of the big 4 playoffs next year. Thank you. Thank you.
I think that for Columbus, I had them in the playoffs this year, but there are some fundamental flaws with the roster. If Korpisalo can have another good year next year, and if either Merzlikins bounces back or they find somebody else as a goaltender, they could be fine. I don't think they're as bad as their record, but injuries have made it so we really have no idea where this team's at right now. They're probably going to need more additions in the offseason.
Do you guys think the NHL needs to go back 1 versus 8 again? Again, this playoff format, I still don't understand it to this day.
The only thing that changes if you go 1 versus 8 is that you don't have 2 versus 3 in the division, because right now 1 and 2 still face 7 and 8. So you're just changing the 2-3 matchups. I don't think the NHL has any desire to go back. Advertisers wanted this change. And unless something dramatic happens, I think it's going to stay this way.
Shannon has done a video on that before and how that would change it and how it really doesn't change it.
I made a video a couple weeks ago where I pointed out that it would change 2 matchups in the East. It changed nothing in the West. Going 1 versus 8, 2, 7, 3, 6, 4, 5. It didn't change anything in the West.
What do the Canucks do at the deadline?
Shen's going to be gone. Odds are a couple other depth pieces are probably going to go. Fans will complain they didn't get enough back. And yeah, I mean, it's possible that Colin Delia's got some interest right now. He's a UFA at the end of this year. Maybe Delia ends up being moved. Between Delia and Martin, I think Delia's been the better goaltender. So once Demko's healthy, and again, Demko might be on the move too. That's been one of the rumors that he may want out.
Do you think penalties should be reviewable?
Yes. I think with judgment calls, I don't have a problem.
Tricky. We don't want it turning into football.
No, but I want them to get the call right. It's frustrating. So it would be a challenge. It would be a coach can challenge on the penalty. See, that's why I don't carry her for very long.
Why are cats the best creatures in the world?
This right here.
She's snuggles. The neediest cat ever.
Snuggle. Yes, snuggle.
She would love to just be carried all day, and at night she has to be in the covers right between us, squished. She likes being a bear sandwich. It's her favorite.
She's such a happy
right
cat.
In her face.
She's such a happy kitty.
Favorite Tool album / song.
Lateralis is the best album, and the best song.
Enema.
Schism.
See, he's wrong.
Enema's the second best album.
That's best song. Album is tricky.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's Lateralis.
I don't know.
Lateralis, Enema, 10,000 Days.
Knock it off. You're wrong. Whatever.
No,
Shannon does not properly appreciate Undertow. And I think it's because
Undertow
he came into it.
There.
I think he came into Tool way too late. And that's why he doesn't properly appreciate Undertow. That's my theory.
That's not it.
I might have listened to a ton of Undertow in high school.
No, Lateralis.
It's a lot. As much as my mom absolutely hated it, but I listened to it really quiet so she didn't have to because I'm nice.
I know you don't speculate. What do you think about the possibility of Stars being interested in Kane and what would they have to give up? Now, since that's a division rival, that'd be pricey. You'd be looking at, I wouldn't be surprised if they'd want multiple firsts. I don't know how cap-wise you'd make that work either. And for Dallas, like, their offense has been pretty good. Their forward group's been pretty good. I would be worried about chemistry if you added Kane. As much as I think Kane would be a solid addition anywhere he goes, I do wonder what that might do to their overall chemistry with their forward group.
Has to have her nose like in my mouth.
That's why I don't.
Your choice of music sounds hideous. It's all right.
Her music's great.
Oh. My cat tends to fall asleep on my hand a lot. Oh, man, whiskers up my nose. Thank you, Bear.
Shadow, when he was a kitten,
she likes to sleep with her whiskers up my nose.
I used to sit with Shadow when he was a kitten
on my lips
while I was playing the PlayStation, and so he learned to lay over my arm when I was on the PlayStation. And so to this day, if I'm sitting down, he will try to lay over top of my arm. As cute as that was when he was this tiny little kitten, he's now a behemoth of a cat, is not as cute when he tries to do that. And he won't hear it that he's no longer the tiny little kitten.
How many miles do you do on the treadmill? What are your guys' most common and favorite meals trying to be healthier?
Treadmill, I try to do 5 miles a day. Although with the new treadmill that I have, I've started focusing on 750 calories because I can change the incline and I try to make sure I do 750 calories a day. Obviously, when we were in Disney, I wasn't able to do it, but we were walking a lot, so it really didn't cause any kind of negative impact. We did
between 18 and 21 kilometers a day.
So about 10 miles a day.
Walking.
So we were good.
We did, yeah. That's the kids. I told our daughter just turned 10, and I was telling her, you walked to Chilliwack. That's the distance of going to Chilliwack. And her response was, But what would my motivation to walk to Chilliwack be?
Nobody wants to walk to Chilliwack.
I have no idea.
There's no motivation I would have to walk all the way to Chilliwack.
No, that would be awful.
There's just, yeah.
Have you listened to Linkin Park's unreleased song yet? Yes, I did. I heard that on the radio yesterday.
Is it Chester?
Yes, it was a song that they just hadn't released, and it is actually Chester on it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Listening to it, I was like, okay, that's why they didn't include it on an album. It's not bad, but it's not like the kind of song that you would normally hear on their albums. But it is kind of neat being able to hear a new Linkin Park song.
New for us, anyways.
Okay.
Would I trade Quinn Hughes for Rasmus
Yeah,
Dahlin?
somebody else. It's not bad. Can tell why it wasn't on the original album. Right.
Yes. Rasmus Dahlin is a better defenseman than Quinn Hughes. So it's Buffalo that wouldn't do that deal. That being said, when I hear talk of, well, maybe they'll trade Hughes, it drives me crazy because Quinn Hughes is the best defenseman the Canucks have ever had from an offensive perspective. And I think all around, like you can make an argument for Ed Jovanovski. Outside of that, they really have never had that premier minute-munching defenseman. So Quinn Hughes, I think, is the best they've ever had. And I hope he doesn't go anywhere. But yeah, if Dahlin was offered a straight up for Hughes, I think the Canucks would jump at it. Because Dahlin is just so good as an all-around defenseman. Not any kind of shade towards Quinn Hughes, but Dahlin's a better defenseman.
Do you like power metal? Have you listened to Glory Hammer at all? I have heard Glory Hammer. I'm not a huge fan of power metal, though.
Does that have the growling?
Usually, yeah. I don't. I like the metal that still has musicality to it.
I like the songs that have a really good beat. I like songs that have a really good hook too.
And you can actually understand what they're saying.
So like a good example would be for Slipknot. My favorites are Psychosocial, which has a really good hook to it. Unsainted, which is just absolutely glorious.
There you go.
But I really like a really heavy beat too. So with Rammstein, Fir Avenue, which is not one of their big hit songs, I absolutely love that song so much. Because of the beat and that really strong guitar, but I'm not a fan of the growly singing. I'm not a fan of speed metal. I've never been a fan of speed metal, and the really, really heavy stuff I normally don't listen to.
Oh yeah. I don't like death metal at all.
No, I really haven't found a death metal band that I'm
Opeth
into.
is the only growly metal band I like. Opeth isn't bad. I haven't heard tons of their music, but I have heard some of it, and it's not bad. Are you two Rush fans?
Not really.
Not really.
I know I'm supposed to be because I'm Canadian. I know that's one of the Canadian rules, but not really.
Why do people care for these lip sync halftime shows? Because it's a show. It's not a concert. It's a spectacle. Yeah, it's not a concert. It's a show. And it's probably easier for them to get the sound sorted out since it's not set up as a concert where they've had all the time to set up the stage and everything.
And it's Rihanna. I mean, she's like a queen. She's fantastic. I love Rihanna, but again, I'm not really paying any attention to the Super Bowl because, yeah.
Symphonic metal is very good. Absolutely.
Yeah, Nightwish.
Nightwish is great.
Would Lacuna Coil qualify? No.
I wouldn't think so.
No. But I love Lacuna Coil too.
Sometimes some music is hard to just put in a box of kind of music.
What are they called? Apocalyptica.
I like
Apocalyptica is a lot of fun.
Yeah, they are.
They did that one song with Till. They did I think it was Heroes they did a cover of with Till Lindemann.
I don't know.
I think so. I think that's what it was. I mean, Tribal Chief would be Roman Reigns. So, of course, you would acknowledge Roman Reigns. It's weird because everybody booed Roman Reigns when he was a good guy. Now they love him as a bad guy. It's one of the best things about wrestling. They finally turned him.
Ghost is a band that's very melodic. Absolutely.
Ghost's albums are great. I love Ghost. I am a huge fan of Ghost. And also one of the most fun concerts you can watch. That's one that if we can take the kids the next time Ghost comes, we will take the kids to see Ghost. Yeah,
that's when we were at it.
They would love Ghost. Oh my gosh,
the kids would love this.
Yeah, that is a fun concert.
And they would love Ghost, and I would love if Nickelback goes on tour, and they'd have to go here, right? Why are you shaking your head? Whatever.
I'm not going to
Nickelback is awesome. Then don't.
I
will go myself, and I'll take the kids because they would love it. Because Nickelback is awesome.
I'm not doing it. It's not going to happen.
They're great.
Not going to see. I'm not going to do it.
The last album, amazing. The new album, yep, looking forward to it. So
yeah, I'm not doing it. It's not happening.
Nickelback is great.
Nope. Not going to happen.
Yep, Nickelback gets more hate than they deserve. Yeah, they've become the band that is cool to make fun of them.
I don't hate them, and their last
album.
They
had some obnoxious songs that were overplayed. Was great.
I like the last album, but I don't know that I'd want to watch them in concert for 2 hours.
I would totally watch them in concert for 2 hours. She's like hanging on.
Yeah, you've got little pulls all over your shirt. This is why I don't carry her.
On to me.
That's why I don't carry her.
Because you do that to jerseys, and then I got to fix them. And it's not fun.
Greetings from Utica.
I'm glad you're happy, though. Greetings to Utica, New York.
Nickel Hey. Nickelback is great. Yes.
I don't know that they're great or not.
They're not bad.
I wouldn't go as far as great.
They're great. The last album, that Feed the Machine, great album. That one was really fun. Would you ever do Amazing Race Canada with your wife?
We wouldn't make it.
Nope, we would do horrible.
We've made the joke that we would last halfway through the first episode and we'd be like,
I'm not eating stupid food.
No.
That's dumb. And neither of us like heights. If they sent us somewhere where you have to drive a stick shift, we'd be out.
Yeah.
There's several of them. Swimming. Shannon's not doing swimming, so that could make us out.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons we could not do Amazing Race.
All right, so you got to climb this Ferris wheel. All right.
Cool. We'll be going home now.
We're going home.
Yeah, that one wasn't that the first day.
That was the first thing they did.
We were like, cool. So we'd be out already.
You have to climb the Ferris wheel.
And then they had to drive a stick shift. And okay, cool. We couldn't do that one either.
Nope.
They have to eat what? Yep, not doing it. So then how lame would it be to go somewhere you've never been before and you don't get to just look around and such?
What are you looking at?
So
Ryan George made a video about that. Don't start.
Nickelback is good. I don't get the hate on Creed though. Creed, yeah.
Creed made me mad for one reason. They released the song Bullets. If you look up the song Bullets from Creed, it is one of the greatest songs in history. And then all the rest of their songs suck. To me personally, anyways. So they showed in the song Bullets, they could make a fantastic, perfect song. And then they refused to do it again. So I can't defend that.
Nickelback and Creed are nothing alike.
No, completely different kind of music. Completely different. I think there's an ego with both lead singers.
Oh, no doubt.
But the music's completely different.
Hi, would you like to be closer to my face?
She's looking. I don't know what she's looking up
She
at.
would like her nose. She likes to put her nose right on my lips, so then her whiskers go directly up my nose.
What is your deal?
That's my favorite.
I love you too. I love you too.
You don't need to pull. Okay, come on, let go. Let go. Thank you.
You don't pull like that.
She's looking at a bug. There's no bugs.
Nice kitty.
If there was a bug, Azrael would have killed it already.
Yeah, she's
no chance to be.
She's murderous.
Bugs in our house.
She scares me. She's definitely murderous. We can never let that cat outside. If we ever let Azrael outside, there'd be so many dead birds. She'd be terrifying.
You're not very comfortable, you know that.
But at any rate, we should get going.
Are you fans of Weird Al? Yes, we have been to one of his concerts. They're very fun.
You haven't watched the movie on Roku, it's free. And it is one of the greatest biographies I've ever watched. I had no idea that stuff happened to him. I had no idea that there were polka parties back in the 80s and that parents were really afraid of kids getting into polka. It was really eye-opening. So when we were at Disney and I heard polka music, I was like, I can't believe they're playing this in front of children. So, but at any rate, I would love to do a collab with Ryan George. I don't think he knows who I am. We're both Canadian though, so that's important. So yeah. Anyways, we should get going. We're gonna. I've got other video stuff I want to do before I turn in for the night.
Booby
and
Hall.
So we'll get on that.
I don't know who Booby Hall is.
And so yeah, we'll get going. And yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, as always. And we'll do this again soon enough. So. There's going to get put down.
I can't click buttons. My hands are full.
Because that's what she does. All right. Take care, everybody, and thanks for coming out.
She's just content.
She's a happy cat.
Like, this is good. I'll just sleep.
She's a happy cat. She can just stay.
Purr away.